a schlemusdicken Leben besteht in dem, a de alle Möglichkeiten, wo der Eibischter hat gegeben, den bestimmten Menschen, a Mann oder a Frau, nutzt sie es in der vollster Maß und nutzt es in dem Efen, was am besten für sich und für andere.
Late 60s. I was a shaliach to the United States of America on behalf of the Jewish Agency. I had found chinuch important in my life, but it's not the job for a Jewish boy. And I had accepted a position for my return to Israel to run a new start-up business. And then I was asked if I would accompany a person of very, very major importance in Israel on a visit the Rebbe. We arrive at 770 Eastern Parkway. The gentleman I'm with is taken in to see the Rebbe. And he comes out and he says to me, the Rebbe asks to speak to you. I walked into the Rebbe's office. There was an ahava in his eyes. He took my hand, held my hand, both of his hands, and he said to me, Avrum bleibt in chinuch.
Alle Birzene, als die Neshome soll jede sein Lemata zu dem Minion, zu die Balsami-Mitzwe, und einander Neshome ist jede Lemata und lebt auf, wie der Maimer Abal Shem Tov 70, 80 Jahre, zu liebeinander Mitzwe oder zu liebeinander Piyul. Und als eine Tonne Idee hat moi, kann sein Ados zu lieber der Piyul ist hergekommen dolle Mata. Aber seine ganze 70, 80 Jahre und alle übrigen Jahre in seinen Toffel, wie sehe.
How he knew that earlier that week I had signed a contract to leave education, I have absolutely no idea. But the way in which this was done, the warmth with which the Rebbe's very presence touched you, made me cancel the contract that I'd signed. And I've since then spent an additional 45 years working in Jewish education throughout the Jewish world, working with tens of thousands of young people every year, and eventually becoming the international head of Hillel.
I was 14 going on 15. I wrote to the Rebbe that I heard a lot of stories about the Alter Rebbe wrote the Shulchan Aruch before he was 20. Shav Shmaitzer wrote the Shav Shmaitzer 18. Rabbi Menachem Mendel said a speech to the public that all the Glean Hader were amazed at 13. Said even if I learn my best, I'll never get there, so why should I learn? So the Rebbe wrote back, it explained in Tanya in the beginning of the 4th parak, that Hasogas HaTorah, what you grasp in Torah, is dependent in the Yecheles HaSagos V'Sherish Nafsh L'mayla, dependent on your soul, where your soul came from. And also explained in Parak Lamed, on the Mishnah, V'Heveshfal Ruach B'fnei Kol Ha'odom, that you have to be humble in front of every single person, that every single person has his advantage regarding a second person.
Jeder hat sich seine Weide. Und das ist dort der Weide von Mori Uvdin Tovin. Ich sehe Koch in Mori Uvdin Tovin, dann noch dort der Weide von Talmid Chachom, ich sehe Koch in Avone Beteira. Und in die beide, ich suche in Klolen, wie dort kamen Dargis. Und das zählt auf den Magistrat mit Absusche Hanefahrer. Was Bechal ist zwischen den London, wir gewähnen Talmid Harava Magi, größere London von F. Okay, du muss gesagt haben, ich komme von Besnische Meile, wird nicht wohnen bei ihm. Für was nicht wie der Gorl, wie ein zweiter Gorl, wie ein dritter Gorl, mit wohnen bei ihm, für was nicht so Hanefahrer. Und das hat gedacht, beim sein wie Schlimmes. Und nicht schäre ich nicht Mosse von Mori Uvdin Tovin. oder von der Einheilig Beteiro, nicht von der zweiten Heilig Beteiro, ist auch damit monten das nicht. Nicht mehr monten der Pavis, man will Praven Chassodim, nicht das ist Tachlis Abrischele.
Everybody has to fulfill the intention of the Creator for what he was created. Self-understood, this is only said regarding Zirus Vadofe, but every single Jew is obligated in all Taryag mitzvahs, by Talmud Torah, learning Torah, Keneged Kulam. He added that because I might have said to myself, okay, learning is not for me. So.
Schade ist Hore seit, als hat nicht den Weg, was zu Eichspruch der Kirche von Aiden, ruft sich auf einen Weg, wo das ist verbunden mit einer speziellen Harmonie, mit einem speziellen Zugang. Rückt ihm unter eine Arbeit, wo sie nicht seine Arbeit, wo demut das, was darf tun, wird nicht tun.
At the end of my being president of Neshei Chabad, I said, I can't do this anymore. It's single-handed. I'm tired. I said to the Rebbe, this is the year and then I'm letting it go. And the Rebbe said, why? Why are you letting this go? You're doing such a great function. And I said, I'm tired. It takes all your keach out of you. It takes away from the children. They're home on Sunday. I'm not home on Sunday. There's no one that cooperates with me. I'm doing it single-handedly. I have to find everyone. I have to do it all myself. And I said, I'm tired. I don't want to do it anymore. And the Rebbe said to me, and you're tired and you don't want to do it anymore. I said, that's right. And he says, what should the Rebbe say? I said, what should the Rebbe say? He said, the Rebbe is tired. No one helps the Rebbe. But the Rebbe continues doing it. I'm not the Rebbe, but you're not doing the job of a Rebbe. You're doing the job that you can do.
Der Rebischer hat gegeben, jeder Mensch, Malachas Kammer wie Kammer, jeder Rieden, zusammen mit den Möglichkeiten und den Kirches, was bekommt, gibt mir eine Menge die Möglichkeit. Soll sie entwickeln in der Fuß der Moos.
And the Rebbe said to me, can you continue another year? The Rebbe says to you like that, try to say no.
Und dafke dämmelt wird sein mit der Hatzloche, worin geht in den Weg, was in Bahasoma, was zugepasst zu seinem Charakter und zu seinen Möglichkeiten und zu seinen Schlichus, wo der Rebischter hat ihm gegeben,